So players are absolutely fuming with Just Impress right now, with some even calling for the game to be, quote, cancelled over their greediness. And so today we're going to look at the new Baddie Pass, some controversies around it, including the new doll line that they're releasing, and just how expensive that is, and why players are so upset. So anyways, for those of you guys that don't know, yesterday Just Impress did an announcement where they basically released their annual Halloween update. And this update had been heavily anticipated. They put out a trailer and teased the update, and people were super excited because there was a promise for a lot of new items. And in this little snapshot from their Discord server where they announced it, there was a lot more new items. There was 56 new items, 13 hairs, tons of custom makeup, 3 new runway effects, new free play town, all this sort of stuff, as you guys can see on your screens. There's a lot of assets added to the game, quests, stuff like that. Now, for those of you that don't know what the Baddie Pass is, this was the summer Baddie Pass, the one that just kind of came out of season. And this one was something where basically how it works is you play the game, and the more you play the game, the more XP you get, the more XP you get, the more you level up in the Baddie Pass, and for each level, you get a little reward. So you can see here, one of them is a top, one of them is a skirt, then you have some money. And these ones with the gold are ones that were reserved for people who own the VIP pass in Just Impress, which costs, I believe, 799 Robux. And there was some controversy at the time over there being certain VIP items in the Battle Pass, but as you can see, these items in the screenshot don't look like they're super amazing or spectacular. You know, they're not going to be life-changing, game-altering effects or anything like that, but they are little rewards for people who spent more money in the game, which I don't feel like is unfair. Games should be allowed to do that. Now, you can imagine players' surprise when they went to join Just Impress after this announcement and saw the Baddie Pass looked like this, which is obviously very different than the first one. As you can see, there's 2 levels. The first level has nothing to do with VIP. There's no VIP assets in this level. It's just the generic path, I guess you can call it. And you can see there's a pumpkin, there's some accessories, candies, stuff like that, currency, this demonic-looking Labubu thing. And then below that, there's a section labeled Diamond, where it has other accessories and makeup. This makeup looks really cool, hair, stuff like that. So they have a lot of things down here. And you can see there's a little lock on these, which basically means that you can't unlock these items unless you buy something called the Diamond Pass. And the Diamond Pass in Just Impress is something you have to spend Robux on to get. The Diamond Pass costs 299 Robux, which comes out to 374 USD, or $3.74, not 374, my goodness, I apologize. $3.74. Now that's just based on the Robux to USD conversion rate, so not with any gift Robux or anything when you buy Robux in bulk or anything like that. And basically, you have to spend $3.74 to unlock this tier. And the thing that's interesting to me is that once you unlock it, that doesn't even mean that you get everything. You still have to work your way through the pass, and there's a chance you won't finish it in time and you won't get all the items that you paid to unlock, which is, I don't know, it's weird, in my opinion, right? Now, on top of that, typically in these passes, there's been some controversy with players saying it's too hard to complete, and that you just don't have enough time to complete it. Can I confirm that? I don't know. That's just what I've heard people saying. And with that, Just Impress obviously has a solution, which obviously involves money, where you can basically purchase a singular tier, so a singular level, for 199 Robux, which is $2.49 USD. So you can buy the whole pass for $3.74, but it costs $2.50 to get one singular level if you don't grind the game enough. And that's what I think just makes this kind of iffy, in my opinion, is that you already have to spend money to just unlock the opportunity at getting these items, and then you have to spend an astronomical amount of time in game to get enough XP to unlock all the items, and if you don't do it in time, then you have to pay money, which is almost the same price as the pass itself, which again just seems like a lot of money to be spending on a game. Now, I do understand that, previously some people said that it wasn't enough time to do the Baddie Pass like for the Summer Pass, but the difference is the Summer Pass happens in the summer when kids are not in school. And so, that gives kids a lot more time to redeem the pass and to level it up, whereas now they're releasing this in October, which October and November are notoriously busy periods in the school year where kids are doing quarterly midterms or midterms if they're doing two semesters in a year. So it's a very busy time of the year, and a lot of the time kids won't have time to unlock the pass or to spend a ton of time in video games. And so it does just, it comes across a little bit greedy in my opinion when you already have to pay money just to unlock the opportunity to get these items. You only have 43 days, and it's during one of the busiest seasons of the year. So that comes across a bit, greedy in my opinion. The other thing too is that if you go down, there's a lot of controversy, people talking about this on Twitter. Now, this one in particular says made with love or greed as well. What the F do you mean that you have to pay 320 Robux for a diamond pass? The last Baddie Pass was with the little VIP exclusive items are fine. And the least the team could do was convert our shells into candies. So for the last Baddie Pass, it was a summer pass. They had a limited time currency, which was the shells. And now with this new pass, they've made it candies, which players are upset because the amount of shells they had wasn't converted to candies. I'm gonna be honest here, if there is like another summer pass and the shells come back, if your shells from the previous summer pass are applied to that, I think that's fine. But if they aren't and they're just erased, I think that seems kind of greedy. I don't know why you would do that. Like, obviously people spent time to save up those shells. If they're not gonna get transferred to the next season, then I think it is fair to transfer them to the next pass, but that's just my opinion. Now, it's also interesting here they say it's 320 Robux. For me, it doesn't show up being that much. I guess maybe it's like with Roblox's new update where like certain areas get charged certain amounts based on their currency. Maybe that's why, but I don't know. Now, if you go here, this person was actually removed or had their stuff removed from the Dressed to Impress Twitter community. It says this post was hidden by a moderator for breaking community rules, and they write, okay, but you guys still didn't explain why the Diamond Pass was added. And I guess they made a comment saying that Dressed to Impress lied about like there not being a pay-to-win sort of pass, and Dressed to Impress said the rule that they broke was no misinformation or impersonation. Which I can understand why you don't want nasty comments on your community, but if it's just people criticizing you, does that warrant hiding their comment? I don't know about that. People are allowed to communicate that they're displeased with you as long as they're doing so respectfully, obviously. This next one by the same person says, sorry, but first when I saw the Baddie Pass, I thought the Diamond Pass would make you get double the XP to complete the Baddie Pass. Maybe they should just do that instead of locking it behind Robux or just let it go at this point. This other comment by Nico says, Dressed to Impress saying they added a lot of goodies for the Baddie Pass when half of them are behind a paywall is foul, not gonna lie. And I thought this was very funny too. Based on like the trailer and just kind of the way the announcement was worded, it made it sound like there's a ton of features, and there is, but they just casually left out that you have to pay for a lot of them, which I think was obviously meant, like they did that purposefully, like because they knew it wouldn't be well received if they had told people that you're gonna have to pay more money to get stuff. And you know, to be fair, it is again a very smart marketing move, because when you have a limited time offer, right? So like a pass people have to complete in a certain amount of time, and the time frame is already pretty short in my opinion, players are going to spend an astronomical amount of time in your game. They're going to be spending time as soon as they get home from school. They might even be, you know, missing out on stuff in real life to try and finish this pass, which is obviously not healthy. Please go outside. But they'll be spending so much time in the game. The game will get a massive influx of people buying the diamond passes, and on top of that, they'll get more money during this time because players have, you know, some sort of push to stay in the game for long periods of time every single day, and games get paid for people being in their game in Roblox. It's called premium payouts. They get money from players being in their game and how much time they spend in their game and how much engagement they're doing in the game. And typically, the more time a player spends in a game, the more likely they are to spend money on that game. It's just a psychological fact. If you become increasingly attached to something, like emotionally, like a game, where you're spending a ton of time in it, you're wanting to be accepted in that game and to be like viewed as being a great role model in that game, or to be like a high value player in that game increases. And so in response to that, you're going to want to spend money to show that you love the game and to, you know, get special effects or features in the game because you see everybody else having them. You spend so much time, you're like, well, I might as well. And so it actually not only increases revenue from players being in the game and purchasing this new item, but it forces players to stay in the game for longer periods of time, which then in turn encourages them to spend more money on other things like pose packs, Robux accessories, stuff like that. So to be fair, it's a very smart marketing move. Do I think it's fair to larger player base? No. This person says the concept of making the Baddie Pass worse even when the entire player base complained about the other one, just delete the whole thing. And to be fair, the other Baddie Pass, I did see there was some, you know, back and forth with players being upset there was VIP only items. I don't have an issue with that. I think it's fair. I don't own VIP, so I really, in my opinion, it's just such a non-problem. I don't care. You want to spend the extra 799 Robux? Go ahead. And if you're going to get VIP items at every single pass, I think that's a good deal, right? But now that VIP players aren't getting rewarded with anything, and what it seems like to me is that I think what they're trying to do here is that for every Baddie Pass, you have to spend money on the diamond tier for that pass. Like, maybe I'm wrong, don't quote me on this, but the way I view this is you spend this money on this pass, right? It's the diamond tier, and then for the next one, you have to spend it again. Because that's typically how it works with games like Fortnite or League of Legends. It's not just like you buy it once and you keep getting the high tier levels for the next pass, it's you buy it every single time, which definitely seems like a money grabby thing to do. This next one says, Dressed Impress players, please give us more ways to use our pink cash and any updates on the plus size bodies, so the cute emoji. And then it goes on to say the devs ignoring those two things, replacing seashells with a new currency to collect, and hiding half the new Baddie Pass behind a paywall. And this is what I said, and I'll stand by this. People got mad at me for saying this, but guys, if a game wanted to update something, they would just update it, okay? The reason why the plus size bodies have not been updated is because they don't directly impact Dressed to Impress's revenue. Sure, there'll be backlash because they don't have plus size bodies in their game, but if, like example, you're weighing the two, right? You could add plus size bodies and spend the time it would take to do the Halloween update on plus size bodies to make them compatible with the game, which in hindsight is the right thing to do in my opinion. It's the best thing to do for a community. It shows you care about representation. Whereas on the other hand, you can make this Baddie Pass that will make you thousands upon thousands of dollars from players buying it. And so obviously the game is going to prioritize stuff that makes them money because that's the nature of a Roblox game. I'm not saying the game doesn't care about their player base, but at the end of the day, what matters most is the money because they have people to pay and there's lots of people that work on this game. Is it fair that they do that? No. But for people saying, oh, they just haven't had time to do plus size bodies, yes, they have. But they chose to prioritize other things, and I think you just gotta be honest with yourself about that. It doesn't mean they're a terrible game, but it's the truth in my opinion. That's how I view it. I think if they really want to take the plus size bodies, it would have been done months ago. It's been a thing for like a year. It's been a long time coming, okay? And I understand it takes a lot of work, but so do these other updates. So it's like, they're just choosing how they prioritize their time, and that's their choice. This next one by Riri says, I understand the excuse of other games have premium tier on their battle passes. When Dressed to Impress has never communicated with their community about adding a premium tier, all they said was they're making the Baddie Pass, quote, easier for everyone. Which, I don't know how having to spend real life money on games makes it easier, because I know there's some kids or some families where they're very against kids spending money online, and so it's like, I wouldn't say it's a pay to win sort of thing, but when you have certain accessories that can only be earned through spending money directly on the game, and they're limited time on top of that, it makes the barrier to entry to the game a lot higher. It makes it more difficult for new players to join the game because there's all these limited edition items that maybe they weren't there for or they couldn't afford. And I don't think everyone should just be handed everything. Don't get me wrong, that's not what I think. But you know, I think it's unfair that now players are joining the game later and they didn't have access to all these super, you know, high value, which there isn't necessarily a trading system, but like they're perceived as being high value rare items that they'll never have the opportunity to get because they were in the game at that time. They didn't spend money on the game at that time. And some of these items might be really good for certain themes, and it kind of gives players an upper hand over other players, which you could argue the same thing for VIP, but altogether, I just think it's not very fair to the wider player base. This comment by Ashley reads, okay, I'm not trying to be mean or anything, this is my personal opinion, but I feel like the Baddie Pass is unnecessary, like skip one tier is literally 199 Robux. Also, the VIP track was fine enough, why did it get replaced by a diamond track that no one asked for? I agree, Ashley, and Ashley was the one that worded their thing the most nicely out of anybody on Twitter, so props to you, Ashley. This one says, and yes, I was already complaining that there's a paid Baddie Pass and it not being VIP instead since there's no VIP items in the regular Baddie Pass. Like I mentioned earlier, I think it's weird to not have any reward for VIP players. It's like, hey, here's your reward, you can spend more money. That's what you get. And this last one reads, please remove the Diamond Pass. I've spent my allowance on VIP and I didn't eat lunch at school because I was saving up. I don't want to starve every Baddie Pass just to buy a Diamond Pass. Please make it VIP again. I'm gonna be honest, I think this is satire, but I'm not sure. If it isn't, this is absolutely tragic. And you know, at the end of the day, yes, people can decide what they spend their money on, but nobody should not be eating school lunch because they just want to buy stuff in Roblox. Like, I will buy you the Baddie Pass. Please don't starve yourself. Eating is much more important. Do not save your money to spend on Roblox. Spend it on your lunches at school, please. It's important to eat so that you can learn. But anyways, this just goes to show how much players care for the game and how much, you know, they want to be able to buy stuff in Dressed to Impress. And you know, had they said, hey guys, just so you know, we're thinking of implementing this new thing into the next update, let us know your thoughts. They could have gotten this feedback before they went ahead and added it, but the fact that they just added it without really saying anything or asking anybody, which they don't have to, but you know, the fact that they just went ahead and added this without any warning just shows me that they didn't really care what people would think. At the end of the day, they just kind of want to make money off of it, which you can't demonize somebody for doing that. At the end of the day, this is a company, people need to make money, there's people that need to be paid. I don't think it's unfair for a game to want to make money off their game. But on top of the Baddie Pass, which people are already upset with, there is now a new toy like thing for Halloween where there's 3 dolls. One is a mystery, 2 are these like Halloween inspired dolls, which you could pre-order on Walmart. And when I went there, it seems like it's not available anymore. So either it's sold out or it hasn't gone on sale yet. I'm not quite sure. But I went ahead and searched, and apparently this set of 3 mini dolls, okay, It retails for $34.99 USD, which quick conversion rate for Canadian buyers, that's $49.06. For people who use British pounds, it's 26.06 British pounds. For people who use euros, it's 30.01 euros. And that's just with the conversion rate of today. Obviously, conversion rates fluctuate every single day, but that's roughly how much it's going to cost you, which I think is insane. Absolutely insane. And I did review the Royal High dolls, who are made by a different manufacturer. They use Fat Mojo, I think is how you say that. Whereas the other, like Royal High, uses a different producer. And so who knows about the quality, but I remember at least the Royal High dolls, in my opinion, the quality is not worth how much you pay for them. Especially for the one that was like $15. These ones, I personally think, again, like $34.99 for 3 tiny dolls seems like a lot. I know they do tend to be higher quality from what I've heard and just more detailed than the Royal High dolls, but still, I think the only reason people would really buy this would be for the virtual prize. But will the virtual prize even be worth it? I don't know. Is a virtual prize worth $34.99? I don't know. And to be fair, the dolls are cute, but I can't see myself purchasing this kind of stuff. But to be fair, the artist who draws this is incredibly talented. I love their art style. It's beautiful. But anyways, that's what's new in Dress to Impress. That's why players are trying to cancel the game right now. If you go on Twitter, it's an absolute cesspool. It is honestly kind of scary. It scares me. And to be fair, games have to make money. I'm not sitting here being naive thinking that games shouldn't make money, but I do think transparency is key, and being honest with your audience about your intentions is key. And just kind of blindsiding them with this paid, in my opinion, sort of like pay to win battle pass just seems a little bit unfair. But again, that's just my opinion, so take it with a grain of salt. But anyways, let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below. Would you buy the Diamond Tier Baddie Pass? Do you think it's a waste of money? What are your thoughts on this? Do you think it's fair that they do this? Let me know. Anyways, I will see you guys next time. Bye bye!